The topic for the day is building the foundation of diversity and inclusion. So that is one of the most essential attributes that an organization should, must possess and display. It is the diversity which will bring different perspective, different point of view, and will assist organizations to mimic the exact environment in which of the society in which it operates. So need to understand the foundation of diversity and inclusions out here thoroughly. So let us understand the one of the basic definitions. The basic definition of diversity is referring to everything that is similar and everything that is different, which defines us as a human being. Remember, essentially all of us might be having 206 bones. This bones in our body will have the similar number of muscles in our body, but essentially what are the difference? It is the thought process, it is the values, it is the principles that we espoused upon, that we believe in. It is the differences that we go around it. The similarities, definitely there might be all similar similarities about hygiene and so on, so forth. This is what we would love to discuss in this particular video. Diversity dimensions, be it internal, if you look at it, is you are there as you age, as you make as a gender basis, as a sexual orientation person, as a physical ability, as about your ethnicity and race. This is your internalization that comes around it, because essentially you belong to a certain community. Now is where you've been exposed to the external environment. As an external environment, it is the geographical location, the amount of money or income that you generate for yourself, the civic professional activities that goes around it, the recreational facilities or recreational habits. People would have different forms of recreation, which might be looking very peculiar, which might be looking very unethical, which might be looking very genuine, which might be much more acceptable than others. So we have differences. Then there are n numbers of religions, n numbers of tradition that people follow. Education background is one of the qualification that changes. Not everybody is duly educated. In fact, not everybody is duly qualified. Even if they are qualified, they have qualification from different entities, different institutions. So you will always develop a work skills about your appearances, your work experiences, and definitely your marital status, your partnerships, your spouses, and goes around it. Now this is what about you, your internalizations as a community and with an interaction with an external body. But what happens when you join a corporate organization? This is where you work as a functional level classification as a position that you work for. The work content or reporting performances, relationships that goes around it. Then we have the divisions, department, unit, group. We are talking about seniority. We are talking about work location, union affiliations, and the management skills that comes brings around it. Yes, we can empower. Yes, we can understand diversity. And I have just told you how people can be club and need not necessarily few of the attributes that I have said, it not be an exhaustive list, and people would have different degrees of attributes that goes around it. For example, a person who might have aged at the age of 30 might still not be am- amply educated. And at the age of 30, there might be gentlemen or ladies who are adequately educated, adequately qualified. In fact, they have many more qualifications beyond those skills. So dimensions of diversity is what the variety, the differences, the similarities, the dimensions among people that goes around it. I have actually said around everything right from age, belief system, class, culture, disability, education, ethnicity, gender. gender identity. Now, you might be born biologically as a male, probably your thought identity might be almost like a female, the way you behave. So, things like that. For example, the generation Gen X, Gen Z, and we keep on saying it, the baby boomers, as the case might be. So, we have those classification, the geography from the different parts of the world that people belong to, job location, the function, the language, the marital status, the mental health, the nationality, the native or the indigenous origin people. We are talking about the parental status, personality types, races, religion, and sexual orientation, thinking style, working experience, and work style, just to name a few of the things. And this is not a complete list altogether. So we need to understand, we have understood about diversity. Let us proceed with inclusions. As the climate we create to help organization, individual benefit from diversity of ideas about knowledge and experiences thereby. Inclusion is all about the sense of belonging, belonging to a particular sect, belonging to particular culture, belonging to particular ideologies. Feelings are respected, valued, seen for what you are as an individual. There are level of supportive energies, commitment from the leader, colleagues, and others, so that we as an individual or collectively can do our work best. Equity versus equality. Remember, diversity is not equal to inclusion, and equity is not equal to equality. Now, to make you understand, this is equality where everybody is at the same bench, but is this person enjoying the match out there, the golf match that has been carried out, or the baseball match that has been carried out? This is what is equity, wherein everybody is able to enjoy, everybody is able to watch. It is what we call fine nuances between equality and equity. So, what is all about reality? Reality is there are people in the stadium and there are people outside the stadium. Probably they cannot afford the tickets. But liberation is when everybody is inside the stadium. Everybody is actually enjoying the baseball match or the football match that comes around it has been shown out here. Remember culture. We are talking about the cultures that comes around it. It's a set of beliefs. It is a set of beliefs. It is everything that we value, we customs, and so on and so forth. This is what exactly is to be notified. Communication, institutions, and ideas shared by a group, a social group. So believe me, this is what cultures and what has been explicitly seen is the behavior that goes around it. So, what do we see in the cultures? Look, what have I said exactly? The underlying assumptions is what the deepest in the deepest of the foundation of the thought process, that one espouse the values. Then the values is the articulation of the basic assumption that comes around, and out here is what people actually see, the way they behave, the way they talk, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves is what we see as a culture. Remember, culture clash. Why does it happen? It is because of the invisible history. People do not look at this point. They are only judging people as on the top, as far as the iceberg is concerned. Different experiences and disparate treatment, disparities and disproportionate investment and outcomes, injustice and unrest, what we're talking about it. Remember, diversity and inclusions are not nice to have. Remember, it is not nice to have. They're imperative. They are a mandatory requirement. They are compulsory to achieve a mission. Rethink the approach. Let us talk about the transformation of the cultural factor that comes around it. Remember, diversity is all about leveraging what we call as a fair, healthy, and high performance alliances or bond. An inclusive environment ensures equitable access to the resources and opportunities for each one of us, for all of us. When cultures allows individuals and groups to feel safe, respected, engaged, and motivated, value for who they are and for what their contribution is towards the organizational and societal goals, as the case might be. This is exactly what we are finding ourselves to be. Cultural competence is the capacity, including skills and behaviors, and the attitude to effectively equitable navigate and interact across the culture. This is exactly that we go around it. This is the cultural competence that comes around, and probably we need to discuss it at length with everyone, with everybody. Need to be transparent about culture. So, what is it, culture? It is not a fad, definitely not a fad. It is not affirmative action or compliance requirement, absolutely not legally mandatory, or there is something which can be called discriminatory. It is never a temporary initiative, and it is never reactive. What exactly is cultural competence would be? It is a mindset, yes. It is the way where you accept the people as they are, the way we do our work, be it our behavior, be it our skills, be it our attitude, long term investment. It is a managed process that goes around it. The right approach is woven into the organizational frame fabric. What we talk about it, intentional and integrated, institutionalized. What are we talking about? The individuals and the organization is the stronger competencies, is the increased capabilities and capacities, as the case might be. We are talking about the awareness, attitude, and action. It is a strong fabric that has been woven together for the greater good, for the greater glory of the organization. Remember, awareness, attitude, and action, when mixed with intentions and been integrated and institutionalized in an organization, it is what we call as sustainable practice for readiness. So why diversity has a positive impact on many key aspects of an organization? First and foremost thing, it's a win the war for the talent. Yes, a strong focus on women or probably ethnic minority, increasing the sourcing talent pool altogether. It gives a wider audiences, absolutely yes. It strengthens the customer orientation, definitely yes. The customer feel empowered, the customer feel able to relate because the customer actually sees a reflection of society in the organization, and that is what we are going to go across with it. Increasing employee satisfaction. Diversity also helps employee satisfaction in reducing conflict, in understanding a situation, or should I say, forging a bond and collaboration amongst themselves, improving decision making skill. Diversity fosters innovations and creativity through a greater variety of problem solving. The approaches that goes around it, the perspective that one brings around, the academic research has shown that the diverse groups are often outperform the expert, enhances the company's image. Social responsibility is becoming increasingly important. Many countries have legal requirements for diversity. For example, anything and everything, it is a mandatory fact that you need to bring in certain percentage of people, and I am not talking about the color of the skin. It can be the person who is physically challenged or physically attributed with special abilities, as the case might be. Yes, this is how we can have an inclusions of diversity. Aspire, where do we want to go? Define a clear value proposition, a value proposition that has to be incorporating from diverse cultures and background. Set few clear targets and not quotas that I'm talking around it, to understand the complexity and the cohesiveness nature of the society. You should make your organization just a mirror image of the society, and that is the way you can get assimilated and accepted. How ready are we to go there? Establish the factual basis requirement, understand the current situation in terms of statistics and so on and so forth. architect what do we do to get there, create targeted initiative, differentiate initiative by diversity group. For example, gender initiative do not always resonate with other minorities. Act how do we manage the journey is define the governance role, define the role of strategy for all such initiatives as on when on basis, the visible flagship projects at the very beginning of the effort, absolutely to be monitors every now and then. This is what we are looking out here. The best practices of GDIB is Global Diversity and Inclusion Benchmark. Sorry, it's written out here. So this is what we are talking about it. Let me take the audiences to the best practices as far as diversities and inclusions are concerned. The Global Diversity and Inclusion Benchmarks helps organizations to realize the depth, the breadth, and the scope that can be incorporated in the diversity and inclusion perspectives and practices. Assess the current state of diversity and inclusions. It is all about determining strategies and tactics. Now, measuring progress in fostering inclusions and managing diversity is what we are looking out here. We need to measure the progress. We need to see how it is helping the organization achieving success, uh, achieving the requirement as far as productivity and goals are concerned. The journey, let us understand the journey. Again, as the case might be, remember there's a foundation which should be always be on a stronger footing. It is all about your leadership, vision, and structure that we build around it. And then we talk about what the internal side of the organization comes around it. So we need to attract people from diverse background. The recruitment and development should be fair and free. It should not be biased. Compensation and benefit should be at par with everyone. It should not be tilted towards favor of one particular qualities that an employee displays. So we are talking about the learning abilities, the training abilities. Let us now move to the society as an external. Learn to serve the society. It is your social responsibility. Social responsibility to take person from every walks of life, from every strata of society, and make them an integral part of your organization and the society. Product and services, marketing, and supplier diversity that comes around here. So let us understand what do we do about measuring the progress. Right at the very bottom is written inactive. That means we are not following the diversity program. We are actually not even thought about it, and probably we are going by the flow. Consciously or unconsciously, if we have incorporated people from different background, it's wonderful. But in most cases than not, this seems to be a little far-fetched. So that is where we come to the step two. Step two is once you realize in step one that there has been no extra effort been put in towards incorporating diversity, a compliance mindset creeps in. You now consciously take actions to include the to honor the relevant laws and social pressures that might be there. Then there is the step four, which becomes proactive, a clear awareness of the values of diversity and inclusions. This is what we are say the starting point, and starting point of diversity and inclusion systematically then is what we are talking about. We are making a headway, yes, for sure. From being inactive to reactive and proactive, now we have become progressive. In increasingly are including people from different background, showing improved result as far as compliance is concerned, if there are any legal compliance that needs to be taken care of. But definitely the societal pressures will be reflected altogether. Comes the epitome of success in terms of diversity and inclusion. The best practices is currently made exemplary for the organization. In fact, your competitors or the other organization would try to emulate your diversity programs altogether. States the vibrancy of your program. Remember, the first thing and the foremost thing that comes around it, it is one inclusions that goes about it. We will be talking about DEI. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is what we are talking time and again, every now and then. This is what we should aspire to be. It is the diversity, equity, and inclusion staff council, the skill, the staff advisory group, the director of inclusion. What we are looking at it, the strategy, managed change process, the systematic change, the sustainable investment, and the cultural transformation that takes place is a strong alliance. Remember, which can deliver on the mission through an inclusive culture and strategy approaches. We are designing the strategic approaches that is culturally transformation efforts include solid foundation and organization structure that support diversity and inclusion, defining diversity and equity and inclusion DEI in this case for an organization, using a shared languages to advance your understanding, using the current status and planning for the future, enabling training and development and upskilling the people who are not adequately skilled and building on their capacity and making them a strong integral team member of the organization. Yes, that is what is leadership is all about it. Remember, board of diversity, equity, and inclusion have an advisory committee, a senior leadership team, the staff counselor or advisory body, and the board of directors, the official who actually manages these leadership thing all by themselves. This is what we are looking into. It brings me to the last slide of the day for this topic. It's a framework as operationalizing DNI, or what we call it, the diversity and inclusion. We are looking to build career. We are looking to build people. We are trying to understand cultural competence and how we work upon it. We are identifying communication and brand and a brand. We are identifying ourselves. We are distinguishing ourselves all together among us the community, among us the client, and looking for sustainable growth over a longer feasible period of time. With this, I come to an end. I'm sure everybody must have understood the importance of diversity and inclusion thereby. Thank you for watching this video.